What's up, everybody? Ron Harris here on the Ron Harris Muscle Channel. Before we get started, please subscribe, like, share, do all that good stuff. I'm almost at 5K subscribers on this. I call it a new channel. I've actually had this channel almost 18 years, but didn't do very much with it for most of those 18 years. The man of the hour, the man everyone's talking about today is Samson Dauda. Samson almost pulled out. Seemed like he was not going to do the Arnold UK. Was leaning that way based on the fact that he was not feeling very well. His health was in some kind of jeopardy. He had to go to the doctor yesterday, emergency room, was not feeling well. As he pointed out on his Instagram stories, he had to watch like 5 of them in a row. He was, came down with some kind of a really bad cold or flu or something, which is very common when you go to these expos, when you go to a contest, when there's thousands of people. In that case, in the case of the Arnold, there's over 100,000 people milling about. You're shaking hands. You got people talking in your face, coughing, all kinds of particles floating around in the air, all kinds of germs, bacteria, viruses. It's very easy to get to catch something, especially when your body is run down. Your immune system is compromised when you're super, super lean, dehydrated. Your body's weakened, and that's pretty much the state that every pro bodybuilder is in on contest day and contest weekend. So he caught something. He wasn't feeling well, but this morning he did announce that he will be competing at the Arnold UK. He's not going to let his fans in the UK down. And as he pointed out, he's got friends, family members who have not seen him compete there since 2017. They haven't seen him on stage in years. They certainly haven't seen this version of Samson. So great news for all his fans over there in the UK. And of course, now moving on to the subject at hand. Yesterday, Milos Sarcev did post something. Let's go to it. What he said. It was the last dance. I don't like to misquote anybody, so I will read that. Well, looks like I got rid of it. I'm going to go to Milos. So yeah, they've been working together for a couple years now. Milos and, okay, so let's share the screen. Milos Sarcev. Okay, so what did he say about this? Was this post? No, part 3. That's part 2. Part 3. Yeah, so Milos said after 2.5 years and 13 shows together, that's a lot of shows in 2.5 years. This was our last dance. Needless to say, I'm beyond proud of Samson, what he has accomplished in a very short time that we worked together. He's completely transformed his physique and morphed himself into one of the very best bodybuilders in the world and the greatest threats for the Mr. Olympia title. As the whole world knows, with improved conditioning that we failed to bring, he's acknowledging that, he would be extremely hard to beat. Wishing Samson and Marlena, that's his wife, all the best in the world, and most importantly for Samson, fulfillment of his destiny. Hashtag the next. I think so. His sponsor, Fuad Abiad, Hostile Nutrition, added, Samson has no health issues. You want to be clear about that. Samson's not in the hospital. Samson's not retiring. That you clear up some of the rumors before they start. Milos, you've done a good job with Samson. Congrats on your partnership. Yeah, Milos did a very good job with him. Think about this. He filled out the frame that brought Samson from a B-level guy, a B-list guy, to someone he's won an Arnold Classic. He came second place to Hany. If Hany, for whatever reason, Hany Chupon had decided not to do this Arnold Classic, Samson would have been a 2-time Arnold Classic champ. And we're coming up on the UK. I saw news that it's not 100% confirmed that Hany Chupon is doing Arnold UK. If that's the case, it's very, very possible Samson might clean up that show, get another pro win under his belt. So let's give Milos credit for that. And he put on, in those 2.5 years that they've been working together, it's been something between like 30 and 40 pounds of stage weight without getting a bigger waist. That is a tremendous accomplishment. Think about that for a minute. That's basically what Chad Nichols did with Ronnie Coleman when Ronnie Coleman went from a guy who had won a couple shows. He had just started to do well, but Ronnie was certainly nobody was worried about Ronnie Coleman going into the 98 Olympia as being the guy to beat. He had been 9th place the year before. There were guys like Nasser El Somebody, Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray. There were a few other guys that were definitely way ahead in the predictions in everyone's mind. They were going to overtake him. But Chad Nichols took Ronnie, put a lot of size on him in a very short time, which is what we've seen with Samson, filled out that tremendous frame, and he became Mr. Olympia that year. And held the title for 8 years. Let's see what you guys saying. So I'm going to get to your comments in a second. So here are the top choices, obviously, that people would be thinking about. Hany Rambod, who was Phil Heath's coach his entire pro career through 7 Olympias. He coached Jay Cutler on Jay's amazing comeback in 2009, when Jay was so far the only man to return to the Olympia after losing the title and regain it. Jeremy Buendia, who won many, what did he win, like 5, 6? I don't know how many men's physique Olympias he won. Derek Lunsford, finally took Derek Lunsford from a 212 to an open, and his first open show, he wins the Olympia. Pretty dang good. And he's worked with Chris Bumstead for the last 2 Olympias. I'm not sure about Hany. Hany's a very busy guy. He might have his hands full right now because coaching is really kind of a hobby for Hany. His main business, his main gig, if you will, is running Evogen Nutrition, which is more than a full-time job. Obviously, it's a huge multinational corporation. Another thing to consider is he's already got the top 2 guys in open with Hady and Derek. They're both with Evogen Nutrition. Would he want to take on a guy who's Samson, who's with another company? He's on a multi-year contract with Hostile Nutrition. This is a business, guys. It is a business. We like to think of, they just want to work and be nice. And no, man, this is a business at the end of the day. And even though Bumstead's not, he took Bumstead on, even though Bumstead's not with Evogen, he's with Raw Revive, his own company that he's part owner in. Chris Aceto would be another possibility. Chris Aceto was Jay Cutler's coach for, I think, every Olympia except for the last couple that he did, certainly all the ones that he won. He also coached Sean Roden to an Olympia title, Seth McMillan's coach. I mean, Chris Aceto's record goes back 30 years with coaching. He's the OG of coaches. He's been coaching longer than anybody else on this list that we're going through. Neil Hill. Neil just did a tremendous job with Rafael Brandao at the Arnold Classic. That was the best Rafael I've ever seen. He was also Flex Lewis's coach for many years for all his 212 Olympia wins. Neil's been at this a very long time. He's very good at what he does. Chad Nichols, another possibility. Chad's been around. He was one of the original coaches back in the 90s when coaching was still in its infancy stages. Took Ronnie Coleman to 8 Olympia wins. I believe he coached Nasser as well. New guy. He's not really that new. He's been around a while. From Germany, Stefan Kienzl, called him Boss of Outlaw on Instagram. He is Urs Kalaczynski's coach. He's Wesley Visser's coach. Wesley just won Classic Physique. And he recently, last year, I believe, started working with Nathan, the Asha, and Nathan won 3 shows last year. So he did a great job with Nathan. Patrick Tuor brought in the very best version of John De La Rosa we've ever seen at this past Arnold. He took Ian Valliere to a couple pro wins. He took Keon Pearson to the 212 Olympia win a few months ago. Patrick's worked with many, many guys. He's based out of Switzerland, works with a lot of great European athletes, very good at conditioning. Matt Jansen, I mean, Matt's one of the very best. He's done a great job, an excellent job with Nick Walker. Before that, with the late Dallas McCarver. Matt, certainly one of the best coaches. I would put George Farr on this list. He used to work with Kai, but George has not been working with open men for the last season or so. Last guy on the short list, and you guys might have some other ideas. Abdullad Al Otaibi out of Oxygen Gym in Kuwait, who was Brandon Curry's coach. He was Big Rami's coach for quite a while up until fairly recently. So let's get to what you guys think. First guy, Vegar Salyanis, who actually posted before the video even started. My 2 picks are Chris Aceto or Neil Hill. I hope Samson can recover, get healthy, and hold his head up high. He will, yeah. Second place at the Arnold is no joke. Second place at the Arnold to Hady Choopan, a Mr. Olympia champ. And that's the best Hady. I haven't seen Hady at every show. I wasn't at that 2019 Vancouver that everyone talks about, but I've been to all the Olympias that he's done, and this was the best Hady Choopan I've ever seen. Hady looked damn good the first Olympia too, 2019, 2020. He's never looked bad, but this was, I think, the best. From the back, he's tightened up more than I've ever seen him before. More back detail, glutes are in, crisper, drier, to knock out physique. So no shame in losing to him. Tony Malzone, Aceto too. Yeah, I'm sure. See, all these guys, all these people that we're mentioning, they're all elite level. I really don't think any one of them you could say is way better than all the rest. Hany, you could make the argument because he's got more Olympia wins. I think he's got 24 now. Yeah, I think it was 22 going into the last Olympia, and then he got Bumstead and Derek. So he's added 24 Olympia wins to his credit. They call him the pro creator. He turned a ton of people pro before he focused his efforts only on, before he started Evogen Nutrition, sort of shifted toward coaching was a side gig, kind of a hobby that he enjoys doing, but he's not going to take on a ton of clients ever again. What's up, Mark? Patty Gold Clayar, wife of the Jamaican tank Phil Clayar. I heard Marlena is coaching for the Arnold UK. Beyond that, there are some great coaches to choose from. Really interesting to see who that is. Yeah, his wife Marlena was his original coach. He then moved to the late John Meadows for a little while, and unfortunately, John passed away prematurely. He didn't get to work with John very long. And from there, he's been with Milos ever since. But Marlena, she's got a good eye for physiques, and she's not a yes man, as we say. That's the worst thing someone at that level can have, is a coach that just says, you look great, you look great, you look great, keep doing what you're doing. Hany is relentless. I can remember Hany telling me stories of, I think it was actually one of his athletes. He was sending him progress pictures, and he was proud of how great his glutes were coming in, because I think he had never seen his glutes before. He was just starting to see some striations. And he said Hany's text back was, "Why is your ass still fat?" So that's what you need. You need someone that's going to be very, very demanding, has very high standards, because these competitions are brutal. They're merciless. When you're up against the very best in the world at this level of these guys, it's so close, so close. 1 little % off can mean the difference between winning and losing. If you're neck and neck with somebody else, it can come down to such a minor little detail. Something like, well, this guy had a little more detail in his back. Like what we saw with Hany and Derek. That was one of the closest Mr. Olympias I've ever seen. And I really couldn't even make up my mind. In the end, I think that was the deciding factor. Derek beat him from the back. From the front, I think Hany had him. Side, they were equal. And it came down to the back. Mark says, Milos may be a great guy, but his protocols are crazy. I'm glad Samson left him. I don't know what his protocols. I mean, we hear rumors and things, but who knows? Who knows? I've heard that about almost everybody on that list that I mentioned, except for Hany, actually. I've never heard Hany. I've always heard Hany is kind of moderate. Usually I heard the same thing about Aceto, not into heavy doses. When you hear that from people, I don't know if it's true or not. I can tell you one thing. And I won't really tell you what the actual doses were, because it's something that's come between them. But I remember George Farrar showed me a series of text messages between him and Kai Green years ago, where he was giving him advice for his protocol, and the doses were so low. And I saw Kai's responses. He goes, "That's it," and it was for a show that he looked really good. I think it was one of the Olympias. So George was putting people on, and I don't think he totally manufactured an entire series of text messages just for my benefit that he just happened to have to show me that day. I think it was legit. So, yeah. So I don't know if that's true or not, that Milos has crazy protocols. He is very much into insulin, but I doubt there are any of those coaches that do not employ insulin, particularly during the carb up phase. I would imagine that they all do. Raymond Jones, Samson can work with George Farrar. I don't know if George is working with open bodybuilders anymore. He said last year he didn't want to, and I don't think he has worked with an open bodybuilder since he parted ways with Blessing, or Blessing parted ways with him. I don't think George has been taking on any men's open. I think he's still working with some other people from the other divisions. Mark says, Hany is the best in business. No reason not to pick him. Oh, it's not just about him picking Hany. Hany has to take him on. Hany's not I've known Hany for well over 20 years at this point. I knew him when he was, just really starting out in the coaching at the national level, with getting some wins on there, all the way through now, where he's renowned as the top coach based on his Olympia track record and so many wins at the Olympia level in various divisions. But he doesn't want to work with a million people. A million is exaggerated. Let's just say he doesn't want to work with even like 10 people. That's more than he's willing to. I know this. He's a busy guy with Evogen Nutrition. He's not a full-time coach. He still does it as a part-time thing for fun. He enjoys it. He loves the process, and he's very good at it. So he's not going to completely abandon coaching ever, I don't think. But he's very, very selective about who he works with. His time is limited. He's got a wife and a beautiful boy, great family. So he doesn't want to be living the life of a full-time coach where you're getting 100, 200 text messages a day you have to respond to, and you're looking at progress pictures of 20, 30, 40 people and trying to tell them and making adjustments to their diet and their PED protocols and their cardio and training and all kinds of things. Very, very time consuming. Clients are very demanding, as they should be. You know, every little detail counts, especially at this level. But it's not a matter of Hany doesn't wait for anyone. Hany's not looking for anyone to pick him. He's like, oh boy, Samson, please pick me. It's more like Samson, if he wants to, could reach out to Hany, and if Hany feels interested in wants to take on the challenge, and if he feels he can work it into his schedule, his busy schedule, maybe he'll do it. I'd love to see it. Of course, I'd love to see it, because I still believe a shredded Samson Dauda would be almost impossible to beat. We've never seen him shredded. I mean, this past Arnold, to me, that's like 80% conditioning, what we just saw at the Arnold. But what a physique he has. Tremendous size, shape, structure, proportions. It's classic. It's a classic physique with way more size than a classic physique pro. So let's see. Muscle Machine with Borat and the avatar. Best coaches can get Samson to win the O is Evogen. Well, Evogen is a supplement company. It's not a coach. But due to sponsor, I don't think that works. Next best coach would be Matt. Yeah, I made note of that at the very beginning of this, because Hany does coach Chris Bumstead, who is not an Evogen athlete. He's got his own deal with Raw Revive. I mean, he's part owner of the company. So it's not a deal breaker that you're not with Evogen, but I don't know if he necessarily want to take on someone who was with another rival company, which, you know, Hostile is a rival to Evogen. So Raymond says, I don't see Hany coaching top 3 guys at the Open Olympia. Someone will feel cheated. Yeah, a few people have echoed that same thought, Raymond. I don't know, because it would have seemed like last year it was. Would you imagine that the same coach would be coaching Hany and Derek, the top 2 guys, the guys that were trying to beat each other? Hany being the reigning champion, and Hany was already his coach, had been for a couple of years already at that point, a few years at that point. But he took on Derek Lunsford, who was at that time the reigning 212 Olympia champion, knowing that, you know, Hany has a great eye. He knows people's potential. He saw what Derek was morphing, growing into. I'm sure he knew Derek was going to be someone who could give Hany trouble. You know, no weak points, great structure, super wide clavicles, great X frame. But he took him on as a client, and lo and behold, he goes and beats Hany, the current reigning Olympia, one of his other top clients. John Knight, there are plenty of good coaches to choose from. Since he's in the UK, he may be better off with a coach based in Europe. I mean, if you're talking about the benefits of a coach being there hands-on in person, yeah, I think that's awesome. It's just not very realistic for most of these guys, because you would have to live within basically driving distance of each other. He's in the London area. I don't know what top coaches are anywhere near London that he could choose from. Maybe Jordan Peters, but I don't think Jordan Peters is coaching too many top pros. Great guy. But yeah, I mean, everything's done now through FaceTime, Instagram, Zoom calls. You know, you send all your progress pictures, videos, or you can pull it up put them on a Zoom call or whatever. And the technology has made it so that you don't really have to be geographically close to anybody in terms of a client and a coach relationship. You could be all the way around the world. I do think it's best, especially toward the end. That's why, like, Hany comes out and stays with Hany usually toward the very end of his prep for the Olympia. He did the same thing for this show, for the Arnold. And we see other coaches who've done that in the past as well. Alberto Montejo, Johnny Morant. Yeah, rest in peace, Johnny Morant. He was a huge super heavyweight bodybuilder turned pro out of New Jersey. One of the guys who made that Diamond Gym in Maplewood, New Jersey, very famous. It was already famous, but Johnny was great. He was in the WBF organization briefly, the organization that Vince McMahon started. I believe that's right. I hope I'm remembering that right. But rest in peace, Johnny. Yeah, he was really good. Machine, I'm a Hany fan, but imagine Hany working with Samson. I mean, I don't know if he could get him into the condition we're looking for. I suspect he could. It's just, you never know. I mean, maybe it's not possible. I'm just putting that out there as a crazy theoretical. Maybe it's not possible for Samson to get that look that I've been waiting for, that really crisp, dry, grainy look. He gets very lean, and still I don't see that look. But yeah, I'm confident that Hany, if anybody could do it, I believe it would be Hany Rambod. So I would love to see the collaboration between the two. I would love to see what they could come up with. And again, a shredded Samson. I don't think Hany would beat a shredded Samson. I'm talking like dugout glutes, crazy detail everywhere, top to bottom, front to back, dugout thighs, striations, deep clear cuts everywhere. With that shape and that size, I don't know. Way up, dude. I noticed you like to look at men's bodies. Are you gay? No, not gay. That's bodybuilding, man. If you don't like to look at physiques and critique them and stuff, I should really screen these before I click on them, shouldn't I? No, I'm not gay. Nothing wrong with being gay. I'm just don't happen to be gay. Nigel Christian Lomax, I give Milos credit for putting on the muscle. That is his strong suit. But once you put on the mass in order to get condition, Milos is not the guy. I would like for him to go to Tuor, Stefan, Aceto. Yeah, there's sort of this myth that Milos can't get anyone in shape. You guys all know this other guy from Iran, Persia, Behruz Tabani. Behruz gets into spectacular shape, and Milos has been his coach the past couple of years. So why would you say that Milos can't get anyone in shape? And you could say, well, anybody could get this Behruz guy in shape. He's just, what is he, a genetic freak like a Munzer? Like my dog could prep him for a show and he'd be shredded? I don't know. I mean, we don't really know. This is all theoretical. Raymond, Samson might not even play second year on the UK if he's not fully recovered. If this affects if whatever happened to him, and I don't know what his ailment was, he seems to be feeling better. But if for some reason his condition is worse than it was, I did hear Rafael is not in. Not in. Let me check that. I just saw it confirmed. Was it Bodybuilding Without Borders that had a confirmed list? I think it was. Yeah, because I was just looking at it. Okay, so let's go to this. Let's present this. Interesting. Share screen. Okay, this is Daniel, runs a great Instagram page called Bodybuilders Without Borders. So it says, Hany is pending. Samson's in, De La Rosa's in, Akeem is in, James Hollingshead, Antoine, Muhammad El Mbabi. So that's all they got. Huh. That doesn't seem like enough competitors to me. Interesting. Rafael is not in. I don't know why Rafael wouldn't jump into this show. Rafael, if Samson's condition slips any worse than it was at the Columbus Arnold, I could see Rafael beating him. I mean, he's very good. He's very, very good. Rafael looked great. No weak points. Condition was bang on, and he's got plenty of size now. He's not as big as Samson, no, but I don't know. Like I said, anybody can lose if they're caught slipping. If their condition is not up to par, yeah. I did see a clip from that podcast where James Hollingshead says Milos did not work with. He couldn't really get a hold of him. He wasn't being responsive to his messages in a timely manner. So supposedly he had Branch Warren dial him in. I think it was Branch, right? So yeah. Henry, I don't have any information. So I would imagine Samson will be the one to make that announcement if he is choosing to work with someone, and if he decides to make it publicly known, it's going to come from Samson. I think any coach who's got a modicum of ethics would want Samson to be the one to make that announcement rather than themselves, because it would look like they were trying to bask in the glory of it and take the spotlight. So. Yeah. Don't know. We haven't heard anything. I assume if anything happens, because of social media being as quick as it is with news, and we're all like these gossip mongers in bodybuilding, we'll all find out very, very soon. I mean, it'll blink within like 5 minutes. We're all going to know. Brian Nasser just has a couple emojis. He's thinking about it. Samson had a coach in England he still goes to every now and then before John Meadows and Milos. Maybe he will seek him out. I still want to know why he left Milos. There's been no indication. Nobody has said anything. Milos has not made any statement regarding that. Neither has Samson. We could all sort of read between the lines and think, well, it's a conditioning thing, maybe. I mean, if maybe Milos has come to the realization. I'm just saying maybe, okay? I'm not making this as a statement. maybe they both mutually come to realization that conditioning is not something they can achieve together, that Samson needs to try a different approach. Whatever Milos's approach with him has been, it's worked very well. It's worked up to a point. But now that Samson's knocking on the door of the Mr. Olympia title, and he's got one Arnold Classic win, and now there's only a few guys in the world that can really beat him at this point, unless he's way off. I'm just assuming that he wants to try a different approach and a different coach and see if that makes a big difference, and that could take him to the next level, because he's come so far with Milos, but maybe they've decided this is as far as we're able to go together. If Samson's going to rise to yet another level and level up, it's going to have to be with somebody else. Cryogenic phenomenal can be a very high level drug free. I agree. Nobody believes that except you and me. They like to joke. I do a podcast for Muscle Tech on their YouTube channel, and I had a guy on there, Joshua Manoy, very good bodybuilder. He's won the Muscle Mania a few times. He's done NPC shows. He's done like the USA. But nobody wants to believe he's natural. And they were making snide remarks in comments like Ronnie was natural too, Kai Green was natural too. Well, yeah, I believe in the earliest stages of their early couple of years of their pro careers, they were natural, because then once they went to the dark side, as I like to call it, they blew the F up and went way up to the next level. So believe what you want to believe. It's all good. I don't care. No relation to Samson. Samson says Milos has those giant sets, which are brutal. Yeah, I think his training methodologies are very useful. Just like Hany's got that FST7 training system, which has proved very useful, help guys make improvements to their physiques that they hadn't made in a long time. And Milos has done that. Milos has been transforming physiques for a very long time himself. He was, before he was a prep coach, he had that gym in California, Coliseum Gym with a K. And guys would come from all over the world, like Dennis Wolf, Dennis James, Hide. There was Troy Alves. There's tons of people that used to come out there, and they would stay there. It was like a training camp. Basically, the situation we've seen later, a few years later, started up with Oxygen Gym in Kuwait, but Milos was doing it way before that. Guys would come out there and put on crazy amounts of size with his protocol. He would train them with that giant set style, and they would drink these. He had the intra-workout shakes. He was big on that way before that was a thing, where they were getting all the essential amino acids and the fast carbs while they were training, glutamine and creatine, and utilizing insulin along with that to really put muscle on these guys super fast. Samson said he did something for finals. Yeah, Sean C. Yeah, Samson in his long post that he made yesterday, it's gone now, but AJ has it. AJ converted it to his Instagram stories if you want to see the whole thing. He did say that he did something for finals he'll probably regret. And I don't know if he meant like in the long term, like he thinks he might regret it in terms of health, or when he says he'll probably regret. Yeah, that's what I got out of that, because if it was something that affected his condition, caused him to lose, then he would have already regretted it. So I don't know. I don't know what he meant by that. I agree, Ron. Samson peeled as Mr. Olympia. I won't be another Cedric. Yeah. Cedric may God rest his soul, Cedric McMillan. He had a crazy physique. Never got into that condition. Just like we've been seeing with Samson these past few shows. Like 80 to 90% in that range of the best possible condition. Cedric in great condition, like shredded, dry, grainy, which he had no interest in achieving, because he knew what went into that, and he just didn't want to do it. Cedric was his own man. He played by his own rules. Didn't bow down to anybody. Didn't compromise his ideals, his values, his beliefs. Yeah, Sean. We don't know. We don't know what he can. We can all speculate, but we have no idea. All right. Says, wasn't Neil Hill already teased to be his coach? Would like to see with Hany or Stefan Kienzl, maybe Patrick Tuor too. These guys are all great. They're all great at what they do. And when they say, well, this guy goes for condition, they all go for condition, guys. They all go for condition. I don't think there's any coach says, I don't want to bring my guys in too ripped. I don't like too much condition. They all go for condition. They're all trying to get these guys looking as best they can, because conditioning is very, very important in 2024 pro bodybuilding. So is Hany. Are you going to continue that somewhere, Raymond? You're talking back to Brian. James has more than a few issues with himself and giving credit to people who've helped him. For why address that with him a few weeks ago. It's on James to knock off that selfishness. Sean, I posed a question on the Arnold Live. What Samson would look like with Hany as a coach? Assuming that Hany could get him into that shredded condition that we've never seen from Samson, that'd be a sight to see. A guy with that much size and shape, shredded, 6 foot, 290. He's been 300 pounds. He was 302 at this Arnold, but I really think he should have been lighter, like 290. That's my comment from the peanut gallery. That 10 pounds off of that, dried out and really grainy, shredded. That'd be scary. That'd be scary. I don't know who's beating that. Rafael could have been tighter. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's see if he's posted any videos. Rafael looked pretty damn tight to me. He wouldn't have been third place in that lineup. Rafael Brandao Pro. Let's see. Okay, these are old. Of course, that's Will Whitman photo. Everyone looks great in the Will Whitman photo. All right, let's take a look at Rafael real quick. Okay, share. So, all right, this is a photo, obviously. Looks pretty granite hard there. I mean, we got to see the back, right? What's that? What are they doing? Crazy Brazilians. Yeah, you look pretty damn tight. I don't know why they keep doing that. There's got to be posing. Yeah, I mean, look, you're getting those call-outs with Samson and Hany. Conditioning looked pretty damn great to me, man. Okay, so here's a little posing. Let's check him out. I know this video is about Samson, but Rafael deserves props. This is the best I've ever seen him by far. Yeah, he looked great. Look at that. Crazy shape. Yeah, okay, the glutes could have been like a little more splintered. That's really all I see. I mean, the condition everywhere else looks perfect. Great Christmas tree. Super wide lats. Let's see what happens when those hamstrings are all dug out. Yeah, I'm just gonna. This is a loop. No. Side try. Yeah, I guess maybe the upper could have been a little drier up here, tighter up here, and I don't know, man. It looks pretty damn dug out to me. It looks pretty damn great. Yeah, great showing for Rafa. Okay, stop screen. Justin Miller, who was the late George Peterson's coach. Justin's a great coach too. How bad would Milos look if Samson comes in peeled for the Olympia? Immediately, everybody would say, well, Milos couldn't do that because he had his chance. He had a few chances with Samson. He couldn't do that. So, yeah, it would be, yeah. Say that when Ian asked who Samson's new coach was, and he asked if it was Hany, Fuad kind of gave that look of I can't say anything, but that means yes. If so, if we get that announcement, I'll be very happy. I'll be very happy because I think Hany is capable of doing things. He's got a different approach. So maybe his particular approach would have a better result for Samson. Who knows? Let's see. Project Bible. And do you think this decision was made emotionally? He kind of threw a fit on his IG, then went to the hospital and dropped his coaching that someone can really get wrong. I'm emotion went into it, but I don't think Samson at the level he's at, where the stakes are so high, he wouldn't make a snap decision just based on the emotional state he was in at that moment. I think he would wait a day or two and talk it out with his wife and really look at it logically, the pros, the cons, and I think that's where he made the decision. Mark Smack Muscle. Keon turned pro natural. Yep, I remember he was much smaller. Good to see you, Max. They're just talking to each other. Beirut's an exception. James, Horse, MD, Regan, Samson, and them have been super tight. Some coaches are good at building mass. Some are good. Horse looked really good at the Romania Muscle Fest. Give him credit. He was in great condition for that show. Regan, at those last couple shows, he tightened up a lot. I still think he could have been tighter, of course, but man, Horse looked great. Rosman, get him on your channel. Yeah, get me on your channel. I'll go on. Shit, of course. With his protocols, Milos could be a widowmaker, so especially Samson fired him. He should talk to Ernst, to Nathan, to Wesley, and go to Coach Stefan Kienzl, who is known for conditioning. Yeah, I'm sure that he's going to, if he hasn't already made up his mind, I'm sure he's looking at various coaches and maybe even talking to a few of them and sort of vetting them out, seeing what kind of rapport they have, because you have to really feel like you can communicate well with somebody. That's super important. It's not just, can this guy, what are his protocols like? What has he done with his clients? It's more than that. You have to be able to feel like this is someone I could have that close relationship, client, coach, client, someone that I can rely on and communicate well with. Yeah, we're not talking about, he's very good, that kid, but we're not talking about all these people right now. I'm gonna have to go walk Brand soon anyway. He stuck to Ernst, Nathan Wesley. You already did that one. Neil Hill, maybe. Yeah, Neil would be. Neil's a great coach. Why am I reading this? Ron's a legend, so is John. Glad to see these guys. Yeah, Project Bodybuilding. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've been working full time in bodybuilding since 1991, January of 91, with the American Muscle Show on ESPN. So, how long's that been now? 33 years. Wow, 33 years. Big muscles. It's not Milos' fault when he only wants to do 45 minutes treadmill and wants to be 300 pounds, hates low carbs, works out live with muscle machines. He was overruling Milos the last two shows. I don't know if that's true or not. If that's true, if any client doesn't follow what the guidelines and execute the plan that the coach is giving him, I'm just speaking in generalities. I'm not speaking about this is what happened and saying, yeah, definitely. If any client is not doing what their coach says, you can't blame the coach. Coach telling you what to do, follow this protocol. This is your diet. This is your PED protocol. This is your cardio. And they decide to do something different. That's on them. You can't come back and blame the coach because coach was telling you what to do. You didn't do it. Other media state will be Neil Hill. They're all speculating. Nobody knows right now. Glutes and hams could have been hard. He was like 2 pounds away. Talking about Rafa. Only thing holding Samson back is conditioning. Yeah, I agree. I mean, people got really mad. A lot of the Hady fans got mad that like anyone else's name was even being mentioned in the same breath as Hady's. But, Hady's amazing. He's great, but Derek beat him. Derek could get beat this year. You don't know. Nick Walker could beat them both. Who knows? Samson could come in with a new coach, Neil, Hany, whoever, shredded. He could beat them all too. You never know. I mean, that's what makes it exciting. It'd be boring if we knew who was going to win now, 6 months away, 8 months away. Rafael's bleaks ruined his lines. Rafael's white peaked him for Prague, where he looked his best. Milos was Samson's biggest fan. Yeah, Milos cares deeply about his clients. I've sat next to him at many shows, and he's so wound up watching his clients. I mean, the nervous energy, he's so invested emotionally in these people and their success, almost to the point where he wants them to win more than they do. So I give him a lot of credit for that. He's not somebody who just takes people's money and he wants the wins for his own glory. He really cares about these people. He really wants them to win. Sims could train a lot harder. Ben Chow, that's Hunter Labrada's coach. Ben's a Brit, maybe. Can't believe. Hey, Ron, that's me. Neil would be a good call. He already lives in the UK. I think Neil's in Florida now. I don't think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Neil's he's been in the US for a long time. I don't think he's lived in the UK for a while. George, yeah, like I said, George, I don't think George coaches open men anymore. I think he gave up. He didn't want to deal with potential health consequences. That's the last I heard. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Chris Cormier, Chad Nichols talked about Chris wouldn't listen, cheat on his diet. Yeah, Chris could have been great too. Cristino should be his next coach. It's 100% true. He's overruling Milos. He's afraid of losing size. Well, in that case, you can't blame Milos. If that's true, I don't know where you're getting that from, so I'm just assuming that is correct. I don't know for a fact it is, but if that is correct, you can't blame Milos if Samson wasn't doing what Milos was telling him to do. He cares about his clients because he cares about their health. If you cared 100% about these people's health, every bodybuilding prep at this level has a certain level of risk to the health, every single one, to greater and lesser extents. It's not a healthy sport. You can't be, if you're totally concerned about keeping them 100% healthy with no liver values, nothing changing, then you couldn't be a coach because they have to take certain risks to achieve these looks that they have. Somebody's at fault. Change can be very beneficial. It's nobody's fault. Yeah, I don't think it's blame. All right, guys, I'm going to head out because my dog needs a walk. He's a big 80-pound pit bull. I love him to death. So you can leave it in the comments, guys. Leave it in the comments. Who do you think he's going to pick? Who do you think he should pick or should pick him? Because I do believe Milos took this guy a very long way, and I don't think their partnership is going to result in anything beyond where it is right now. They got to the highest level they could together, and now they're parting ways amicably. No trash talk, no bad mouthing from either side. They're both very grateful for the time that they had together. Milos gives Samson nothing but love and wishing him the best, and Samson, I'm sure, very, very close, became very close to Milos over the past couple of years. So we'll see what happens, guys. So please, again, let me get to that banner. Subscribe, like, and share. I'm so close to 5K subs on this. Really want to build this channel up. If you haven't watched a video that came out yesterday, we returned with Power Hour. Power Hour with myself and Giles, Tiger Thomas, did a full review of the Open and the Classic Physique at this last Arnold. We had a really good time, broke it down, took a look at the footage, and hoping to really bring this channel higher and higher with the help of Giles and, of course, Jen Jarisi, who was COO of Advanced Research Media, MD, for the past few years. That I was there for many years, but Jen came along and really helped grow the YouTube channel, social media, and we're really making good strides on this channel, and we want to keep going. So help us out. It doesn't cost you anything. Subscribe, like, and share. Drop some comments below. I love your feedback. So that's it, guys. Talk to you all later. Thanks so much for watching.